M Club. Welcome to Minnow Labs Live and happy Perimenopause Awareness Month. Today we're going to answer all of your burning questions around perimenopause. The questions like, how do I know if I'm in perimenopause? But even what is perimenopause? So make sure to have all your questions down in the comment section below. We want to get those answered like an ask me anything kind of vibe. So get those questions in so we can get our experts to answer. Hey, welcome. Well, welcome, ladies. My name is Natasha. I'm the community manager for Menno Labs. Our guest today is Angela Williams from 100 Healthy Women. Welcome. And then our
Thank
brand
you.
partner, Dr. Maggie, who's a naturopathic doctor from the Akasha Medical Center. Welcome, Dr. Maggie.
Thank you.
Ladies, what are you drinking today?
Well, I have multiple beverages in front of me, but I'll start with my green tea. I'll leave it at that.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Dr. Maggie. I am drinking my fresh watermelon juice with some Menno Labs fiber in there. So
And
quite
please follow along with Angela. She has so many great recipes she shares on her Instagram. So amazing. And cheers, ladies, I'm just drinking water with lemon. But, we all need
That's
our water
that's
every
good
day.
too.
Yes. Dr. Maggie, we're all about educating women on perimenopause and menopause at Menno Labs. I love that you share the same mission with your platform, Hello Perry. Can you tell us more about what you're doing there?
Yeah, so I created Hello Perry out of my very strong desire to reach more women going through perimenopause. It's been
Yes.
such an underserved area. I've been doing this now for 20 years. So a few years ago, I felt such a calling to share this information to any woman who wants to have it, make it available. And it's really about educating women on what to expect during perimenopause, all the different treatment options, and also make it a little fun along the way. So I'm most proud we have over a 10-hour course really specifically on perimenopause, hormone therapy in perimenopause that I have. And then we do these quarterly resets. So our next one is going to be in January, where we can bring as many women in as possible to help educate and support them through perimenopause and be just a sounding board for like advice, education, and empowerment. There's only so many people that I personally can reach in my private practice, which is super busy and so rewarding. So it was like such a strong desire to reach more women.
And those courses are so important because the curriculum here right now in the United States does not include anything about perimenopause and menopause. And as we always say, the education is so empowering because then it can help you guide your decisions on your path during menopause and perimenopause. Because as you also know, a lot of doctors aren't educated beyond 2 hours on menopause. So it's always great to go to places like you as a resource to learn, get help, and then take that information to your doctors. Angela,
Yes.
community is essential during perimenopause and menopause since so many women feel alone during this journey. Can you share what you've created with 100 healthy women to support that need?
Yes, yes. I first want to say though, I'll have to bring 100 healthy women over to your reset.
Yes, yes.
That sounds amazing. And like, like her, what we do is we've curated a community offline, right? I say offline, but it's a really beautiful community that we have in a private network. And it's just an opportunity for us to get to know like-minded women, connect with like-minded women, share stories, learn from them, and really just have these beautiful, authentic conversations and engagements that you really just can't have like on social media, right? So it's a very unique network. It's an incubator for holistic wellness practitioners, enthusiasts, advocates, and we all just come together and support each other. So it's a really beautiful community that we're building. And we also offer courses as well to support our members, cohorts, so that we can come together, challenges that we can get involved in so
Love
that we
that.
can keep each other accountable, all that good stuff.
And then for our viewers, I thought it was just in LA, but you said you have other locations. Can you share the other
Yeah.
locations with everyone?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm between LA and New York. So we have members there. We have members in Atlanta, in Florida, in Texas. So I am really excited. I want to grow this globally. So
I
it's
love that.
growing.
I love that. Dr.
Thank you.
Maggie, let's learn about the basics of perimenopause now. What is perimenopause? So many people know what menopause is because of movies and all the jokes with hot flashes, but there's more to it. What is perimenopause?
Perimenopause is the transition to menopause. But during that time, it can last up to a decade where our hormones start to fluctuate in a way that's different than it had been before. And that fluctuation can really affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And our cycles pre perimenopause really did follow this regular rhythm. And once we hit perimenopause, which can start in our 30s, women don't understand that some of the symptoms can arise in our 30s. It's when our estrogen in particular starts to fluctuate more erratically.
Mhm.
Progesterone is a hormone that starts to decline slowly. Testosterone can start to decline, and it can affect every aspect of our body because we have hormone receptors everywhere. So if those receptors are not being bound to the hormones in the way that they used to be, it can cause symptoms. And some of the earliest perimenopausal symptoms that women will notice
Mhm.
are the brain changes. So,
Yeah.
and those are the big ones. Those are what
Hmm.
bring women into my office where they just don't feel like themselves. Cognitively, they're having more brain fog, difficulty with finding words, or they're having more mood changes, irritability, anxiety, depression, less resilient. The things they used to be able to handle with ease become more
Hmm.
difficult. This is very common during perimenopause. Menstrual changes, sometimes they start off as subtle where your
Mhm.
period can start to come a little earlier. You could totally miss it unless you track your cycles. Your period might start to come a day or two earlier. Maybe you're getting two in a month. PMS could be getting worse. You could be having heavier cycles, having two full cycles in a month.
Yeah.
Sleep issues tend to arise, so difficulty falling asleep or that 2, 3 a.m. wake up in the middle of the night, very common, very difficult quieting the mind. These are all really common symptoms during this transition into menopause, which is really marked as 1 year since your last menstrual period.
Definitely. I think the one that stands out a lot that I'm always hearing from our community is they just don't feel like themselves, and how to verbalize that to their
Hmm.
doctors is the hard part because they're like, yeah, you're just getting a little older. But it could be your hormones and it could be the start to perimenopause. So
Yeah, I
something
see
to look
someone
out
wrote
for.
a decade. Oh my God. And yes, actually, yes. But one thing I do want to say is that symptoms can sort of come and go because one
Good to
other
know.
hallmark of perimenopause is that our symptoms are, our hormones are more sensitive to stressors. So
Mhm.
you may notice worse symptoms when you're in a time of higher stress. Or if you're not sleeping well, or if you're not eating well, or death in
Definitely.
the family, or increasing caregiving responsibilities, you may have more symptoms and you may notice those symptoms actually get better when things quiet down. And that's why focusing and really dialing in on lifestyle this time is so important because it really helps
Hmm.
us have that buffer against the hormonal fluctuations that happen during perimenopause.
So true. Angela, how did you
Absolutely.
know you were in peri?
Well, I had an interesting entry point
Yeah.
into Perry. I actually had a partial hysterectomy in my late 30s. So, I didn't have that, that those markers, right? But my doctor prepared me for some of the things that I was going to experience. And like Dr. Maggie said, you just have to really pay attention to what your body is going through.
Yeah.
So because I had a partial, um, I was still experiencing some things, the mood swings and the insomnia, the vaginal dryness, of course. And so, that was were my markers. That's how I kind of figured it out.
Definitely. Dr.
Mm.
Maggie, will all women experience perimenopause? And we say everyone is going to experience menopause. All women will. But will all women experience perimenopause? Kind of like what Angela's bringing up.
It's a good question. I think all women will have some transition into menopause, but not everyone's going to be symptomatic.
Yeah.
Everyone will
Hmm.
have a unique experience.
Interesting. Dr. Maggie, how long does menopause last? I know we brought that up just now. Someone was saying 10 years. What? So,
Well, perimenopause can last up to 10 years. Menopause technically is 1 day. And piggybacking off what Angela said, menopause is a flawed definition because
mhm.
the definition is based on you getting your period. Many women
Hmm.
don't get their period because of hysterectomies, uterine ablations, the progestin IUDs, like a Mirena IUD. You're not getting that bleeding, so you don't have that barometer. So you do have to be mindful of just really the
Hmm.
symptoms. So, yeah, I even forgot what your original question was, but did I answer it?
How long does perimenopause
Yes.
last?
The brain
I
fog
know
of
the book answer is
perimenopause.
usually 7 to 10 years, but
7 to 10 years,
it can
yes.
be different for everyone.
It doesn't have to be daily symptomatic,
Yeah.
but for some women it is. And we know Black women have earlier menopause,
Yeah.
earlier
Menopause.
perimenopause,
Yeah.
and that can often be dismissed in the medical community and among women who feel like they're just way too young,
Yeah.
have longer. So yes, it can be absolutely a decade.
And Angela, what
Hmm.
do you wish you would have known about perimenopause? Because like I shared in the beginning, it's not taught in school. What do you wish you would have known before you entered in?
Um, I wish I would have known I had more control,
Mm,
just more agency. I
yeah.
think this a lot of times the stage with women, it's we're there's so much information that we're taking in. We're going to our doctor. There's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times as women, we don't hone in on, how can I take back my control over this
Mm,
situation? What can I do? What lifestyle changes can I make? And just like what Dr. Maggie said, I think that's what really makes me more passionate about it, is because it does affect, Black women
yeah.
more profoundly, right? And it's so many different factors. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna control my nutrition, my food, my exercise regimen. And once I did that, I got a better handle on things. So I wish I had known that, years prior. Like, okay, there are some things that I can control.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Um, Dr. Maggie, can women do anything to delay perimenopause? I don't know if I've heard a lot of this,
Mm,
so I was curious about that.
Clinically, what I've seen is that if you really do dial in on the lifestyle factors, nutrition, sleep, movement, hydration, community,
Mhm.
joy, boundaries, not
Yeah.
saying yes to
mm,
everything, when you focus on that and you can prioritize that, not just for mental health, but hormonal health,
Hmm.
I
mhm,
do believe you can. I mean, everyone is unique, so it's hard for me to do a blanket statement for everyone. But having practiced perimenopausal healthcare medicine for 2 decades, when you can dial in on that, it can help tremendously. Doesn't get rid of all symptoms, but
mhm,
and not for everyone, but for many women, it absolutely that regulating your nervous system and dialing on a metabolic health, if you can do those two early on and prioritize that, then you can have an easier transition into menopause.
mhm.
Good to know. Well, ladies, we're talking about perimenopause today, and I'm just going to look and see if we have any questions out here that we can highlight. I don't see any questions, and I know you already spoke about the decade long. So we're going to continue on. Dr. Maggie, as a doctor and a woman in peri, what is something that surprised you personally about this phase?
The emotional piece and the brain health.
Yeah.
I don't have the same cognitive ability in the sense of brain fog or memory lapses or short-term memory or name recall.
Hmm.
That definitely has affected me. I used to have like a mental calendar. I didn't have to write anything down, but now I have to write everything down and I could miss something. Um, so that's one. And then I also notice more irritability. And I'm such like a calm, happy person. So when
Yeah.
I'm like that ragey, I'm like, oh my God, who am I? And I sympathize with my patients because just like them, is it hormones? Is it that I have my
Yeah.
job, my 3 children,
Yeah.
all this stuff I'm doing? It can be hard to tease out, but these are the symptoms. Like so many of my patients, it's really the brain changes when your brain isn't working the same and your mood changes. But I'll tell you, one thing feel so strongly about is that when you understand why, and
Mm.
it's not so foreign to you why you're feeling different or your brain's not working the same, it takes the fear away and it gives you more self-compassion, and that can fuel more confidence and understanding what's happening to your body, and it just makes the whole experience so much easier when you know why and you
Yeah.
know there are treatment options. The mood changes and memory lapses, they do, I believe it reduces when you have that self-understanding.
Definitely. And we've had past shows about kind of ideas on what you can do to help with that kind of brain changes during perimenopause and menopause. So definitely look into those on our YouTube channel. Angela, same question. What surprised you about your perimenopause experience?
Mm. Um, well, I think what surprised me overall about this stage was just the high rate of divorce.
Mhm.
Um, that that really saddened me, because there's so many things that women are going through during this stage, right? And like Dr. Maggie talked about, our moods, our emotions, and I think a lot of women deal with shame,
Mhm.
and it whether or not they have a supportive partner or not. Sometimes it just comes back to to us, right? Like, how are we processing this? And I think a lot of times what happens is women don't know how to communicate with their
Mhm.
partners, and and maybe they expect their partners to understand without them communicating, and then that's where the tension. So I was really surprised um to hear about that, and so I'm really passionate about that too, just helping my clients and my community get through that period, because it's tough for everyone. It's tough. It's tough for us, but it's tough for our partners. It's tough for our kids, and just really being having those honest conversations, I think, can eliminate a lot of that tension.
And sometimes it could be a little difficult for people to figure out how to kind of share their story, their
Mm-hmm.
experience and during perimenopause. Because, how do you just say, I'm not feeling like myself? Nobody's going to really
Right.
get that. But we do have some blogs, resources available on our site to help open up those conversations with your family, your friends, your partners. So
Mm-hmm.
we definitely understand that communication is key, and we want to try to help people
Yes.
with that. Dr. Maggie, what are the most common symptoms of perimenopause? I know you brought this up a little bit earlier, but what are ones that surprise you in your practice? I know that there's usually around 42 plus symptoms, probably higher now. It keeps growing, but what are ones that surprise you?
So, yeah, just to reiterate, the brain changes, we already mentioned that. So, the brain fog, mood changes, period changes. You can have hot flashes and night sweats. Sometimes the night sweats just before ovulation and just before your period,
Yes.
that can happen right around that peri time. Our brains are just a little bit more sensitive to those estrogen dips that can happen at those times of our cycle. But there are some ones that I do hear frequently: itchy ears, itchy skin, heart
Mm,
palpitations. The sleep issues are huge.
yes.
I'm trying to think what else is some of the ones that I've heard. The burning mouth and burning tongue.
Mm, those are so interesting. So you're not
Joint
alone.
pain
If you're
is huge.
experiencing this, you're not alone, and it could be peri. So write this down, take it to your doctor, and discuss. Angela, every woman's experience is different with peri. Which symptom surprised you the most on your peri journey?
Well, before I answer that, I'll just say I'm very happy I haven't had any of those
Right.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It gives you relief sometimes, right? When you hear
Oh
the other
man.
stories. Yeah.
I think the symptoms that really kind of threw me off initially in peri were I had severe joint pain.
Mhm.
Like it just threw me off because I wasn't expecting it. I had no idea joint pain was attributed to
Mhm.
perimenopause or menopause, and it would happen at night,
Yeah.
like this excruciating pain on my thighs, and I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, what is happening? I was I would it would wake me up in tears, and so that really threw me off. I'd say also the hair thinning, because I've always had really thick hair, and it seemed like, one day I woke up and I was like, what is going on here? What in the and so I just was like, yeah, those really, really threw me off. Like, seriously.
I think it's interesting with the thinning because my cousin and myself as well, you can't tell with curly hair, but ours is more, or at least mine, I don't know about my cousin, is more in the front. So you can't tell if you're looking at me and somebody will say, you don't look
Mm.
like you have thinning hair. But if I
Yeah,
straighten it
right.
or if I put in a ponytail. And so I definitely can resonate
Yes.
with you on that because I'm just like, what is happening and what do I need to
Yes.
do? Like, what am I doing wrong? So
Yes.
I do think it's interesting during this stage with our hair changes. Um, Dr. Maggie, for women who thought that their diet and exercise routine were good pre-peri, but now seem to can't lose weight, what would you recommend to them?
It's important to really look at what you're eating, because I do hear that a lot. And sometimes it doesn't have to do with your diet, truly. Like, it really is the hormonal fluctuations. But if we're going to look at the diet, take a look at what you are eating. it may not work for you. You may have been fine before, but it may not work for you during perimenopause and menopause. We become more insulin resistant
Yeah.
during this transition. So the way our bodies can handle carbs does
Yes.
change. So
Yes.
if
Hmm.
eating oatmeal and rice with lunch and dinner was something you used to, which sounds decent, or, rice,
Mhm.
chicken,
Hmm.
veggies, it really may not be, it might need a tweak. So
Yeah.
typically during this transition, we do need to really be mindful, cut out, eliminate processed foods, sugar. Alcohol is a big one. Some people eat perfectly.
Mhm.
I see this a lot I live in Los Angeles, see that, eat so well, but will have 2 glasses of wine every
Yeah.
night. And that is something that can be a major obstacle. So looking at the processed foods and then really prioritizing vegetables, protein, fiber, healthy fat. Looking at what your exercise. So we do lose more muscle mass during this time. It's normal,
Mhm.
but we can prevent that by really dialing in our lifting weights, working our muscles, and getting enough protein, so the amino acids to build muscle, because not only does that keep us
Hmm.
strong and mobile and it's good for our bones, but they're metabolically active. They burn calories when we're at rest. So there is often a tweak that needs to happen during this time. Even if you feel like you're eating perfectly before, if you're
Yeah.
starting to gain weight, it's time to look at what you're eating, reevaluate what you're eating and your movement and stress to
Hmm.
see.
It is crazy when you think that you're eating healthy or pretty healthy, and then all of a sudden, like you said, you start to gain weight, your cholesterol goes up, your, A1C, your sugar levels go up, and it's like, what?
Hmm.
I was eating this whole time. Like, why is
Hmm.
it affecting me now? So it can be a little stressful, and you could get
Hmm.
angry, like I have to stop eating all of my food. Like, what am I going to eat now? You could feel
It's
limited.
frustrating.
But yeah, it is
Absolutely.
frustrating. That's from a personal experience.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Angela, how have you changed your diet and exercise routine during your menopause journey? I love seeing what you post. Once again, going back to your Instagram, you share a lot
Mm.
of great ideas. So thank you for
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. I think just to piggyback off of what Dr. Maggie said, I had to really, because I feel like I've always been healthy. I've always
Yeah.
been a healthy eater and an athlete. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I worked with a personal trainer when I started gaining the weight. Worked with
Hmm.
a personal trainer, and she was, really, really into nutrition as well. And she encouraged me to, get the 125, 30, 130 grams of protein in, more
Yes.
fiber, more, and and I started doing all those things, but I was actually gaining more weight.
Yeah.
So I had to dial it back in. And like Dr. Maggie said, just really approach it from a holistic standpoint,
Hmm.
right? Like, what do I need? What do I need to do in these moments? So I just got serious about, well, what I do, my personal trainer did not want me to fast, but fasting works for me. And so
Yes.
I really try to encourage people to do what works for them
Hmm.
intuitively.
Hmm.
But get your labs done. Get a full panel of your labs done and really understand what your body is lacking, what you need, because I think a lot of times, um, it's really about, like you said, just changing your diet up a bit, right? So
Hmm.
I eat, like I said, intuitively. So if I'm having, if I'm doing strength training, lifting heavy weights, I'm going to eat more protein. I'm going to incorporate more carbs. If I'm having a light day and I'm just walking or maybe practicing some yoga, I'm gonna, have some juice and maybe a smoothie, a good nutrient dense salad. And so I really cycle my nutrition around my workouts, and I
Love that.
incorporate more fiber. I love Menolab's fiber. It's a really good soluble fiber. Fiber is super important
Hmm.
for women at this stage. And I just eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables. Like my
Hmm.
my plate is more like, it's probably 60-70% vegetables, and
Yeah.
then some good healthy fats. I'm pescatarian, so I eat a lot of wild caught salmon and cod. And yeah, I think just really matching my nutrition with my workouts and being consistent.
Mm.
Like, I am pretty religious about my nutrition. I think it starts with your food, what's on your plate. Even when I go out to dinner with girlfriends, I'm really pretty disciplined, because I'm not always that disciplined with my exercise. I'll be
Hmm.
honest, I have a love-hate relationship with weights, but it's necessary. Like we
Yeah.
just have to do it. So that's kind of my routine.
I love this actually. I'm going to take away from this the matching the meal to the workout. I've never thought of that, but I love how
Hmm.
that sounds, when I'm doing a yoga day, doing a lighter meal kind of day throughout the day. And then
Hmm.
on the weight days, make sure I'm supporting my body with the
Hmm.
protein and the carbs. I love that
Yeah.
idea. Dr. Maggie, for viewers who aren't in peri yet, let's say pre-peri, early 30s, how can they prepare their body and mind for this next stage? I always say take care of your future self. So what would you say to these
Yes, I
people?
love this. And
Yeah.
well, you're here, so you are curious. You're already so far ahead of most other people if you're actually listening to this. But education is so important
Mhm.
because I started practicing this medicine when I was in my 20s. So now I just turned
Amazing.
48. Um,
Happy
but
birthday.
I am so aware of every symptom, and it makes it so much easier when you are aware and educated. Mentioned it earlier, but I cannot overstate it. When you know what can happen and the symptoms
Definitely.
that can arise, you know why. It just makes everything so much easier. And then, like I said, really, this is your opportunity to really focus on lifestyle, and it's all good. It's
Hmm.
not it's all good things you should be doing anyway, but now it really matters,
It
right?
does.
Your
Hmm.
nutrition, getting a good sleep rhythm and routine is so important. Who you're surrounding yourself by matters. Are you aware when your body starts to feel stress? Like, these are things you can start to do now. I mean, you're never too young, but they matter more now, because remember when we were in college and we could stay up all night and drink beer all night and hit our 8 a.m. class and take a test? Like,
Hmm.
absolutely not. And that is okay. Like,
Yes.
we just need to shift our mindset that taking care of ourselves will help prepare us. Taking care of ourselves combined with the education piece is what you need.
Mhm.
And it also will help to, this might be a time you want to interview the different doctors. No rush, but it's better to
Ooh,
know who you can reach out to when or if you start to experience symptoms. So
love
I
that
see a
idea.
lot of young 30s, like, I just want to be prepared. I want to have my team in place. I'm feeling great now. Educate me. And when I have issues, I will definitely come back. Great. This is a time you don't want to feel like crap and then start trying to find the right doctor. It's
Yeah.
best to do it before.
That's so cool. I love that. I don't think I've heard that either. That's like another level of
Hmm.
preventative care.
Hmm.
It's pre-preventative care. Love that. Angela, what have you shared with your daughter around perimenopause and menopause?
Mm. I've shared with her that it's just another beautiful part of being a woman.
Yeah.
It's to not look at it as it's this horrible thing, but it's I love being a woman. So
Yes. Yes.
I tell her that all the things that we did to prepare you as you were starting your cycle, the questions that you need to ask, ways that you can prepare yourself.
Yes.
Even with like what Dr. Maggie said, just letting her know, how you can mentally and physically prepare yourself now with
Yeah.
meditation and yoga and really learning how to control your stress. I didn't know that when I was in my 20s,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I just really try to, and I lead by example. She's
Exactly.
she's been in this life now forever. She's, had been using natural clean products forever. We've been making our own body butters, and
I love
I'm
that.
constantly talking to her about hormone disruptors and
Mhm.
balancing your hormones. And so she's probably like, okay, mom, I get it. But yeah, I talk to her a lot about
I
about
love that
what
so
she can
much.
expect.
That's so amazing. And I was going to say, I mean, she must be following along on your Instagram where you're sharing
She's
all
pretty
this
good.
great information
Yeah.
as well.
Hmm.
We have a few minutes, so I just want to jump in and ask really quick. We have Perry Toolkit time. Every month we feature a Perry Toolkit in the Dr. Maggie newsletter. Sign up if you're not already. And I just wanted to start off. Well, I guess we'll just do it kind of quickly. But for both of you, let's start with education. What is one book, site, or podcast you would recommend to the viewers to get more information about perimenopause? Angela, let's go with you first.
I'd say I loved Generation M by Dr. Jessica Shepard.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's an amazing book. I love Dr. Shepard. And her book is just a great overall. It's simplified and it comes from a holistic standpoint, which I love. That was probably one of my favorites.
Nice. And Dr. Maggie?
Heather Hirsch and Kelly Casperson are big on social media. They both have
Mhm.
podcasts and books, and you can learn
Yes.
so much just from listening and reading their work.
Love that. And I'm going to do one more. Okay, let's just do this one. What would you carry in your purse during perimenopause? What's a toolkit item that you think is essential for women to have? Dr. Maggie, let's start with you.
I love anything that activates our senses and is grounding, because getting dysregulated, stressed, or too caught up in our head, something that can remind us of who we are, grounding. It could be a scent, something we touch, something we see, something that is a reminder of like who we are at our core, something that maybe ignites a sense of gratitude within us, just something that is very grounding in the moment. I think is a
Mm.
powerful tool. I've sort of moved away from like fans, you know, and like
Yeah.
pocket fans and things like that, and something a little deeper, but I think it's more powerful
I love
just to
that.
kind of, because you can get so caught up in your head when you don't feel good and it's so
Hmm.
scary
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah.
start to spiral and feel so ungrounded. But when we can activate our senses
Yes.
through whatever sense you're like scent, you know, smell or taste or whatever it is, that can just remind us who we are, who we want to be,
Mm,
and ground us,
I
feel
love that.
safe.
I need to
Mm.
find something I could do that with now.
I love that. I actually I keep a selenite crystal in my purse, so I love that. Thank you very much.
Ooh, that's very cool too.
But I'll
Okay.
just share three things really
Yes,
quickly. I know we have to
please.
go. So the three things, I do keep a fan. I don't
Yes.
have an electric fan. I have a cute little, wavy fan. I have a fan. I
Yes.
have a little bottle of rose water, which I think is
Yes.
is great because not only does it, if you're having a hot flash, it cools you off, but it's hydrating. It's great for your skin.
Mhm.
It smells good, and it's, a makeup. It'll set your makeup.
Yes, that's your makeup.
So,
Yeah.
and then I keep these little non-toxic deodorant wipes.
Ooh.
So I always have those in my purse. My daughter's always like, "Do you have any wipes?"
That's
I'm like,
perfect. You're just ready to go,
"I
no
do."
matter where you
Mhm.
are. And it doesn't take up a lot of space, which is also good.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love all of these ideas. Thank you, ladies. Customer care is going to be available. If you have any questions that weren't answered, let me just go through really quick and see if we had any questions at the end. I
I
don't
think
think I
they're
saw
worse.
any
I did
from.
see a few.
Oh, you did see some. Let's see.
Can I go? I
Oh,
don't.
lost connection. Let's see.
There
I have
was
some coffee in my coffee now. Oh, yay! You have some coffee in your coffee. Um, recommended for frequent urinary tract infections. I'm cautious because of the side effects. There is a family history of breast and uterine cancer. Is it safe? Estradiol.
Vaginal estradiol is incredibly safe and a great tool if you're having frequent urinary tract infections. And you can take it vaginal estrogen, which works locally. Absolutely, if you have, even if you have breast cancer, but family history, there is no contraindication. Absolutely safe.
Nice. Um, the joint pain. I've been reading a lot about COVID brain and the generation of women who turned 50 entering menopause. Very interesting. That is
Mhm.
interesting. We are also the generation of women who may have been exposed to COVID with after effects of COVID brain entering brain fog at menopause. Yeah. Itchy skin, yes. Let me correct that. It's under the skin near hip area. Let's see if that was. Do you have any opinion on the pellets natural that is inserted into the tissue in the bum? Yeah, yeah, that is one. The pellets, Dr.
Yeah,
Maggie.
I'm not a fan of the pellets because it gives super high doses of hormones
Mhm.
that haven't been very well studied, and they usually are dispensed as either testosterone or estrogen. Estrogen for sure can have too much of a stimulating effect on the uterus,
Mhm.
which isn't good. Testosterone can just have side effects. So the women who I know, women get it and love it, and I know that that exists, but I also see the women who come in with the side effects who
Yeah,
don't like how they feel, and there is nothing you can do
yeah.
until that wears off. So I use estrogen and testosterone and progesterone in my practice, but not through pellets. There's safer, lower dose, effective, safe
Mhm.
ways to get a good effect.
Okay. When you're no longer premenopausal and now in menopause, what does that actually mean?
So your hormones are no longer fluctuating. For some people, perimenopause is worse because it's the fluctuating hormone levels that can trigger the symptoms. Menopause, your ovaries have retired. You're really making very little estrogen. Your fat tissue can make a little bit. You're making little testosterone. You're making practically no progesterone. So hormones are low, 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 but stable. For some women, that stability can bring big time relief. For other women, just having very low hormones can still contribute to a lot of symptoms. But what that means hormonally is that you have very low but stable hormones. Whereas in perimenopause, it's the fluctuating, erratic, unpredictable hormone levels that are contributing to some of the worst symptoms of this whole process. But for some people, menopause is worse. For some people, peri's worse.
Just so interesting too. Yeah.
Can- Before you go on, can I share? I just want to share something so funny. My girlfriends and I were having this text dialogue yesterday. I just have to, I have to, it was so funny. And Natasha, I'm going to send it to you because it's hilarious. So we were talking about Perry and my girlfriend says, well, Perry is like your mother-in-law who gets on your nerves, comes to visit, and you don't know when she's going to leave. Minnow is when she's 90 years old and comes to live with you and she's there, but less annoying because she's old.
Oh gosh.
I thought
I
that was
love the
so funny.
breakdown. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It was hilarious. We were all piggybacking off of Dr. Maggie's hello, Perry. Hi, it's me, Perry, you know.
Oh, the mother-in-law. Yep. It's so good. Oh, let me make sure. A decade, my God. Okay, that's everything then. I think that's everything. But if you guys do have more questions, I'm so grateful that we went through all of these because, everyone needs to learn from each other's experiences. And Dr. Maggie, thank you
Mhm.
for answering all of these. But if you do have questions that weren't answered, we do have a customer care team where we can direct these over to Dr. Maggie. So it'd be customercare@menolabs.com. I'd like to thank Angela for joining us and Dr. Maggie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the sharing and information that was able to be shared with our community. And as always, the session should not be considered medical advice as being provided for information purposes only. It is not intended to substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult with your healthcare provider should you have any questions or concerns. And please join us to celebrate Menopause Awareness Month next month with our guest. So thank you, ladies, once again.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
everybody, for
me.
joining us, and we will see you next time.
This was
Bye.
great.
Happy
Bye,
Perimenopause
ladies.
Awareness Month.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.